join me in welcoming Dr. Fletcher.
So, leadership, what is it? Well, welcome to school today. Many schools you could go to. You go to the School of Music, you go to the School of Business, but tonight we're going to be in the School of Leadership. And what class are we going to take? We're going to take a class in pain, the price paid for leadership, the price paid for influence. What is the price that has to be paid so that each one of you, whether you're a student, whether you're a business leader, whether you're a mom who stays at home or a dad that stays at home, you're looking to start a small business, or you're leading a business now, what is the price that is going to have to be paid so that you can have influence over and with individuals? Let's get going right here. Leadership. Now, you can look up Google leadership and come up with a million different topics, books, YouTube videos, TikTok videos, Instagram posts, research articles on this phenomenon called leadership. Everybody, because you're a human being, you have the capacity to be a leader. Now, whether leaders are born or made, that has been a discussion and will continue to be a discussion. But nonetheless, because you are a human being, you have the capacity to influence. And so the definition of leadership that I use is that a leader is an individual who provides purpose, direction, and motivation to influence individuals or a group to operate, to improve, and to achieve their specific individual or group goals. We have a history of leaders. Good leaders, bad leaders. But nonetheless, whether you're talking about Martin Luther King or Stalin, Mother Teresa or Hitler, Biden or Trump, Houston Davis, Mayor Castleberry, or one of you, everybody I just mentioned had the capacity and exercised or exercises influence over people. And in some of those cases, it was transformative, world-changing. To be able to say, I have a dream, influence. To be able to say, those people are not worthy of life and should be exterminated. Influence. Either way, you have the capacity to influence. So influence runs through human relationships. Whether you are a leader now or you're contemplating being a leader in the future, your influence runs through the individuals that are brought within your sphere, if you will. And so if one individual is brought within your gravitational leadership pool at that very moment, that is your opportunity to influence. How will you use that influence? Well, you could use power. It could be transactional. If you do this and you give me this outcome, then I will reward you with this. Or it could be, you know what? I have a plan that I need to execute, and I want you to be involved in this plan. Can you give me your input? How should we execute the communication? What will the logistics look like? You have these skills and talents from a previous job. Can you give me those? Or it could be an influence in such a way, like a king who said, I have a dream that one day I will see white kids and black kids and Latino kids and Asian kids eating together and dancing together. So let's do this together. How do you use your influence? It could be through power. It could be through you making a decision on your own or you bringing other people in. Or it could be through, let me speak to what ties us together and let's move this together. And so look at the relationships that you have. Who right now is in your midst that you are influencing? And how are you influencing them? And what are you doing to influence them? Pain. There's been a lot of pain the last 2 years. There's been a lot of angst, frustration, irritation, affliction. In some cases, the culmination being death itself. Pain. One of the definitions of pain is the price paid to achieve something. And as a leader or an emerging leader, let me tell you that there will have to be a price paid in order for you to effectively influence somebody. So in this class, let's bring in some of your instructors. King Solomon. So King Solomon, towards the end of his reign, if you're familiar with a Christian perspective, King Solomon was one of the great kings of Israel. He was the second king following his father David. And towards the end of his reign, he wrote this short little pamphlet called Ecclesiastes. So he's reflecting on his reign and everything good and bad. And he comes to this realization that all is vanity. But he also comes to this realization that you have to have an aim. And that aim helps negotiate the pain that you are going to experience, because we all know that simply by being born, at some point you are going to experience some type of pain. But it's not all the time, because what King Solomon recognized was this, is that there's a season for it. It's not all the time, but there is a season for it. And so when you hear that word season, that means there is a beginning point and that there is a end point. But for King Solomon, he says, yes, there will be a time to weep. To weep because you didn't make the right decision. To weep because somebody said, hey, you know what, I'll be there, and then they don't show up, and then you feel betrayed. You thought that was your road dog, that was your girl, that was your boy, and then they just pieced out on you. What do you do with that pain as a leader? Nietzsche, German philosopher, contemplated, what is this thing about life? Now, Nietzsche is famous for saying God is dead, but he was saying that in the context of this this idea that the West has been shaped by regarding this transcendent being, that is no longer the case. But if this is not the case, how are we to understand why do I experience pain? If I can't understand it because there is some being out there who is directing life and directing the affairs of life, and if that being is dead, how am I supposed to understand why am I here? And why do I experience this pain? So Nietzsche said, to live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in suffering. Because he came to the realization that to achieve who you are supposed to be what he called this overman, or where we get the word Superman or Superwoman, that you have to go through these points of pain because they would bring about something out of you, and that you would be at the heights of your human experience, and in this context, your leadership. Finding meaning. Squid Game. Popular, 2021. But I read about this man, it took him 10 years. 10 years of door slams, 10 years of not interested, 10 years of, I don't think anybody's gonna get this, 10 years to the point to where he didn't have any money. He actually contemplated selling the computer on which he was actually writing the script. And what he said during the filming, the level of stress that I was under was a full 100%, which hit me hard. There's a time for pain, but we're to find meaning in it. We're to recognize its effects on us. But like I said, at some point, it comes to an end, because what you experience in your pain, or what people have experienced over the last 2 years, these are the things, these are, as Carl Jung said, the irritations that can help us understand who we actually are as leaders. So there's a time for everything. So there's a time for pain. But there's this song, Frankie Beverly and Mays. Joy and pain, it's like sunshine and rain. And look what they say. Over and over, you can be sure there will be sorrow, but you will endure. You will endure. Where there's a flower, there's the sun and the rain. Oh, but it's wonderful. They're both one in the same. Where there is a flower, where there is your leadership, there is both sun and rain. The flower needs the sun as well as the rain to blossom and to fully become what it is intended to be. Your leadership is going to require the joyful times, but it's also going to require the painful times, so that you as a leader, or the leader that you're going to become, you can fully become what you're supposed to be. Why? Because, again, leadership is about influence in human relationships. And so in order to interact with people, you have to have a knowledge about who you are and how you respond to not only the joy, but also the pain, so that the person that you're leading, when they're having a bad day, When they don't feel like coming into work, when they don't feel like completing that project, you can be just a little bit more empathetic. That when that person is threatening, you know what? I don't know if this is the right place for me. You can be a little bit more empathetic because I'm sure at some point you have contemplated piecing out. But secondly, being present with others. We were not made to be alone. We were not meant to be in pain alone. And so in your leadership, in whatever capacity that you're going to lead, whether it's in a college setting, whether it's in a home setting, whether it's when you graduate and you're in a business setting, whether you're starting your own nonprofit or whatever, how will you be present with others in their own pain? How will you as a leader carry out your influence and the type of influence? Will it be through the use of power? Will it be through the use of participation or some type of motivation so that they can see the end to their own weeping? And then finally, discerning beauty. Take a moment. Because one of the things that pain can do, it can cause us to think about 100 different things. Oh my gosh, this bad thing has happened. This is going to happen. What's going to happen with this? What's going to happen with my family member? What's going to happen with the people that I work with? What's going to happen with my schooling? Take a moment, wherever you are working, wherever you are leading, and see the beauty and the simplicity of people working together. Revel in the cooperation that happens between individuals who are coming together around a shared vision, values, and beliefs to make something happen. And that's what happens when 2 people come together, when 3 people come together, when a class comes together. So this has been the class of pain and the school of leadership. Thank you.